there, my name's Jill Tiny. I'm from Collaboration Global, and this is our podcast, Being Human, Hidden Depths. I'm going to be interviewing some of our members from Collaboration Global, and they're going to be sharing with you their extraordinary lives. Although they would probably believe they're just normal, everyday, average humans, but they are extraordinary. A bit like you and me. We all have our story to tell. We've all been through difficult times, and we've come out the other end having learned an extraordinary amount about ourselves that we can share with others. So I think you'll find lots of things that will resonate with where you've been in your journey as well. I look forward to seeing you on the other side. Thank you for coming. I'd like to introduce you to my special guest at this podcast, Being Human, Hidden Depths by Collaboration Global. My name is Jill Tiny, and I'm so excited to be with Frances West, one of our newest members. So I'm really pleased to kind of dig deep into the background behind Frances. Welcome, Frances. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me, Jill. It's been an interesting ride so far with Collaboration Global.
It's early days.
It's early days, but I'm enjoying every single second, and you already put me to task in many different ways, which I enjoy, and it's been one of the things you said only a couple of weeks ago is I've written down on a piece of paper.
Hey.
I know people can't see it listening to a podcast, but I've got it in front of me all the time just so I can remember to do it.
Brilliant. That's good to know. I love that. So it's amazing. What I love about Collaboration Global is that people will say little things that to them is like obvious, or to them is like, oh, you should do that. Have you thought about that? And it hits people in such a way that they go, oh, I'm going to put that on my wall. I'm going to make a note of that. That's in my diary. I see that every day. And it has that kind of impact. And knowing that had that impact on you is kind of, oh, that's lovely. Thank you very much. So first and foremost, before we go into your deep and murky past, I want to dig the dirt. What attracted you to Collaboration Global, and what kind of made you go, this is something for me?
Yeah, I'm a kind of person that likes to help people, and put me in an environment where I can actually add value in my element. For instance, I did do BNI for 13 years. 8 years ago, I stopped, and I was a regional director, and you name it, and I absolutely loved it. But in the end, I left, for reasons. But absolutely loved it, and that's I saw a community from what after you showed me that truly cares and truly wants to help other people within the group. And I thought, I would love to be part of that.
Yeah. And that's not to say that there aren't BNI groups out there that do have that kind of capacity, but I think it's by accident rather than design. And I think the difference for Collaboration Global is that we are focused on putting love at the center of everything we do. And we are focused on coming away from the fear, scarcity and competition space. And we're not pitting ourselves against anybody else. We're all in this together. So it's a kind of different vibe to what BNI do. And I think, ironically, we must have met in the past. If you were a regional director, I used to look after Essex for many years. So we must have ended up on trainings at some point. Yeah. Do you not remember me on stage, doing my thing?
Absolutely.
It's a small world though, isn't it? It's funny how things turn out. And as you, I was a fan, I am a fan of BNI, but it's a transactional, do this, and you get this. And for the people that say, BNI doesn't work, BNI, it didn't work for me. Sometimes it's like, well, they didn't quite work for,
precisely.
It wasn't a good fit. But I do think that they have a lot to teach us from our perspective, because quite often in Collaboration Global, we can be so lovely and loving and connecting and wanting to get to know people. A lot of our members forget to go, and what do you do for a living?
Yeah.
So it's almost like, you are allowed to talk about business. And actually it is about helping each other get business, because you want to help people that you know, like and trust, which is the old BNI thing, isn't it? But you really have to get to know them, and you can't show off about what you're passionate about until you know yourself. So the basis of Collaboration Global is about connecting to you and then connecting to other people, helping your business to grow, and then paying it forward for the rest of the world. And the chat that we've just had has really made my heart sing because of what your ideas are. So let's just very briefly do this, otherwise it will run out of time and I'll forget. Tell us about this charity that one day you'd like to start before we get back to the basics.
Well, let me go right back to maybe the time when I was in South Africa. My dad used to come home at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He was in the police for 36 years, and he had every tool under the sun, you name it. And my mom used to do every hobby under the sun. So I was at a very young age, I was working with them or learning with them to make things, whether it was stained glass, I did wood carving, I did pottery, I did...
You're a creative.
I'm trying to think something that we didn't do. I helped them build a room, we did tiling, you name it, I've done it. I can't think of one thing I didn't do. And he had lovely routers and drills and welding machines. So when I came to the UK, you won't believe it, the first thing I bought eventually was a lawnmower. Just to be able to mow the lawn was great. And in South Africa, we had a massive lawn, and I had a parrot used to sit on my, parrot on my shoulder when I used to mow the lawn.
Oh my goodness.
But moving forward, so we now moved in, about 15 years ago, we moved into, a really nice house in Hertfordshire, and it's quite a long garden. It's about 176 foot garden. At the end, I decided to make some raised beds. So I thought, and I looked at the wood prices, I thought, this is a joke. This is so expensive just to make a raised bed.
Yeah.
Precisely. So I thought, there must be another way. And I went online and I saw these most amazing things that people make from pallets. So I now have my own Pinterest board, and you'll find, if you type in Francis West, you'll see all the stuff I've made and also the things I want to make. But subsequently, about 2 years ago, a friend of mine, he said, I see you make all this stuff on pallets. Would you mind making some raised beds for one of a charity or communal centre in Watford? I said, of course. How many would you like? He said, I'd like 6. I said, no problem. I'll make them for you. So moving that forward a little bit, I just thought, you know what? I could actually do this on a much more permanent basis, if I didn't do my day job. So my idea, or one of my dreams, is to actually set up a place in Watford or somewhere in Hertfordshire where we have premises, maybe a large workshop, and I'll ask B&Q and the other big companies, Screwfix, to donate tools, and then we'll bring people in, people that are suffering from maybe some mind issues, or just not in a good place.
Mental health,
or mental health, and bring them into an environment where we can make things from pallets.
Lovely.
And so many people have already lined up to donate pallets. I mean, pallets I can get easily. And then, of course, I'll print out the pictures and I'll teach them, how to make the stuff. And at the end of the day, they can either take it home, or they can sell it, or do whatever they want. But that's something that I'm going to be doing, before 2023. I'm just pulling people in and locations.
Yeah, I love that, because the one thing we've learned in lockdown, isn't it, is the pressure people are under mentally, and the depression that is out there, and the one way to, not the only way, but one of the ways to alleviate that is creativity, whether it's through baking or crafting or building. In fact, there's now I'm having a think. There's a guy called Paul Cameron who runs the Treehouse Company, and he builds tree houses around the world. And I'd be quite interested to connect you two up, because I think you'd have a good conversation to see how he might be able to support and get involved with that. He's an amazing guy.
My new favorite shop is Aldi. You can see Aldi, they've got the most amazing power tools. I mean, Screwfix is my ultimate favorite shop. I can't walk past. I was so hoping my 17-year-old son would get a job at Screwfix, because I know I get 25% discount on all my tools.
Yeah.
But you're right. So, come the weekend and you can just walk in. So I've got quite a big shed, and I walk into that shed and I've got 2 massive work tables.
Wow.
And I'll pick something during the week and I'll start making it. So I've got a number of projects waiting to happen this weekend and next week when I'm taking a few days off.
Fantastic. So watch this space, folks. You heard it first. A charity being started up. We'll have to think of a great name for that, unless you've already got one lined up. But I think that's a beautiful idea to support many, many people. And some people, that youngsters just don't know that they're good at that kind of thing because they've not had a chance to try it out. I mean, is woodwork still going at school? I don't think it is anymore.
Very limited from what I've seen, but both my boys, you know, because I've always had them involved in making stuff from pallets, you know, especially the last 4 or 5 years, they you know, they're absolutely, when they go to school, they just like dab out, they just do it because they're so used to it.
Yeah. People get worried that,
and it's good child labor for me as well.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. That's why you have them, isn't it? You don't have them to do stuff for you. Brilliant. Well, thank you, Frans. That's excited me. I love these new projects, and when you see them kind of come to fruition, and you know that it's going to help many, many people, it's brilliant. And also, it's the sort of thing that people see you do that and go, right, let's have one of those in Manchester, and let's have another one of those somewhere else, and you never know where it's going to end. So you've already alluded to the fact that you're a family man. What is the most important thing in your life? Tell us about your kids, tell us about your partner, tell us about your family, and what brought you to the UK?
Yeah, so I came just for a quick holiday in November 90. I thought I'll just, you know, I told my parents I had a job, and sorry, I did lie, because I just thought I'll quickly, so I landed with £100 in my pocket and a return flight ticket.
Excellent.
And by the second night I was down to 75.
Whoa.
And luckily the third evening I found a job in a landscape gardening company, and we were supposed to work in the gardens. And as I'm walking out of the porter cabin, I saw a computer on the desk, and the owner said, "Oh, do you know anything about computers?" I said, "Well, I eat them for a living." And you should have seen his eyes. He said, "For 2 years now, I've had people come in here and they're all trying to computerize my business and they all failed." I said, "I'll do it." So I started working the Saturday morning, and I worked every day, Christmas Day, New Year's Day, because I had no family here. So, you know, he started me on £97 a week. And my friend who came over with me, he couldn't find a job because he lasted one day in the gardens. It started snowing, and we've never seen snow before, so it was a bit cold. And he's trying to find a job, and what happened was that we spent £25, or I did. I paid £25 each for our accommodation in Turnpike Lane, £10 each for a travel card, so you can try and find a job. So we had £27 a week just to eat, and we had a great time and go out. So it's possible. I told my kids that last week; they couldn't believe it. But anyway, they said, "Oh, times are very different now." So in '96, I better get my dates right. You know, I married I met my wife, who's an English Rose, and the rest is history. She's a beautiful woman, and when I took the photos of her the first time to South Africa, my brother-in-law said, "So where did you steal these photos?" I thought, that's nice. So I keep on saying she should have gone to Specsavers. But so I'm very, very, very lucky. You know, she helped me in my first business, which we sold, and I have 3 children now, 1 daughter, two boys. And you know, what is my passion? My passion is to help people. You know, I've been in IT, delivering IT solutions for 30 years now. But I would say, you know, if you asked me 3 years ago, what do I do? I said, well, we're an IT support company that does a bit of IT security. If you ask me what we do today, or have done in the last 3 years, is we're a cybersecurity company that specializes, you know, in helping people around the world, but still do IT support. Because IT support for me is a given. What I can only describe as what I've seen as a tsunami of cyber attacks on small businesses in the last 3 years, and sadly, it's not improving. It's just getting worse. So for me, it's almost as if I found my voice, in the sense that, or my what's the word? Your calling. Because with the information I have in this head of mine now, with myself and my team, we have the ability and the knowledge to help people worldwide, you know, from all these hackers and scammers. And I only this week alone, I've had 3 calls from 3 different companies. One in Ireland, who lost 60,000 euros in a scam. Another company in Hertfordshire, a big company, lost 1.4 million through invoice fraud. And another small building firm who lost £45,000. You know, and I have the tools to help these people, but you know, sadly, I think there's a lot of a lot of similarities between coronavirus and cyber related crime, because people can't see it until it's too late, and it's helped them or it's taken them out or infected them. So it's.
But there is a big difference in that people are aware of cybercrime, but they don't have the fear of it as we do with coronavirus. It's like, oh no, I don't want to catch it, so I'm going to wear a mask. But I think there is this latent complacency that people don't really see it. And until they've come up with those kind of examples that you give out, or know somebody that's been stung, they feel like it's always going to happen to somebody else.
Precisely.
And I think, going back to corona, I think a lot of these conspiracy theory people would change their mind if corona was right next to them and they saw somebody suffering with it.
Absolutely, and I feel that, I have the ability and I want to help people. I want to help people worldwide. So that's why, you asked me, I've made it my mission. I've made it my mission to educate and protect at least 1 million people from hackers and scammers by 2023. That's what I do every waking moment when I'm away.
Literally, because I know how hard you work, and it's a passion that you haven't got enough hours in the day, so it's like, I'm going to work and work and work, and it's not because you have to work because you're desperate for the cash. You're having to work because there are so many people that need support and need help. So you have to
and like yourself. I said, if I share with you another quick story, it makes me quite sad to tell this one, but just about 2 weeks before lockdown, I was at a networking event, and this young gentleman, he runs a small estate agency firm, and he said, what do you do? And we exchanged what we do. And he said, Francis, I so wish I met you a month ago. I said, why? He said, my dad runs a small building firm, and he's just been conned out of £55,000.
A lot of money.
And the sad thing is, though, he phoned up his son eventually after about a week of plucking up the courage and said, son, I promised you that money for your wedding this year. I'm sorry I can't give it to you now.
Oh.
And son, that money, exactly, that money I promised you for that, for your deposit on your flat this year. I can't give it to you. It's heartbreaking, this stuff. And I'll tell you for a fact that I know that if he was in one of my webinars, we do a lot of free webinars. If he was in one of my webinars, he would have not made that payment, because he would have heard me talk in his ear going, this is what you need to do, don't click there, do this, do that. And he would have not, and that would have been life-changing for that family.
Absolutely. And that's what I like. From a personal perspective, having been on one of your webinars, there is so much information. It's like, oh, I didn't know that, I didn't realize that, oh, I better go and check that. Just from the simple stuff, without thinking about, do I need to buy your product? It's just, there are so many other things. But hopefully people are sitting there listening going, well, I've learned that, and learned that. Maybe he's right about the other stuff as well, and I need to get some.
Correct. I agree. I agree. Because most of the things you can do is free.
Yeah.
And it's just about awareness and about.
I love the way on a lot of your LinkedIn posts as well, is you show an example of an email that's come, and you highlight all that. Look at that bit, look at that bit. Have you got this email recently? It's going out in the last 2 days. It's been going out. Check that. And then other people go, oh, I got one of those and I didn't realize. Like, it's the tiny little detail. Like, look at, where it's come from. And I'm like, almost like frightened to touch anything now. It's like,
but you see, there's the problem, Jill, and this is the thing that I really need help with from collaboration, is and you've already helped me, let's be honest, but is that bridging that gap between educating people and not frightening them too much to actually taking action. Because most people they see the threat in the lion's den or the cage, and they think, but the lion is in the cage, it can't come out and eat me. But what they don't realize, if they just look a bit to the right, you'll see the back part of the cage is completely open.
That's a really good analogy. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then we have this lovely little coat that they can put around themselves, and if the lion comes out, the lion will break his teeth.
Yeah.
The coat. So, but people think, no, the lion is going to stay there forever. Anyway.
It's true. It's like you were saying earlier about taking the tablet. If they knew what the taste of the pain was.
Yeah. I so wish I could have this tablet, and I think that goes for any industry sometimes. It just give them the taste of this tablet to feel the pain, so that they can really realize that they don't. If they just do this one or two or three things, they will never have to experience that pain.
And also, I think a lot of people assume it's going to be massively expensive to protect themselves. What's your bottom rate, and what, you know? Just give us an example.
I mean, my best value for money product out there right now that is we just as we speak, we're rolling out 800 users with our new what do you call it, email security solution.
Right.
And what this email security solution, I think it costs less than £7 per person, and it uses AI technology to look at behavior. Never mind infections, it does that as well, but it looks at behavior of what happens with email when it comes in, because 91% of attacks are coming in by email. So if you can limit that one threat by itself for less than, let's call it a tenner, less than a tenner a month, you know, you've already eliminated 91% of current attacks.
Yeah, especially so much when you consider so much rubbish that comes in our direction.
It is, because email, I like to make it visual. Email is the only door you can't close in a business. Do you agree?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. That's a really good description. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, but what we do is we put this lovely layer of protection over that door, over that open door, so that, you know, we shoot them as they come in. And from an implementation point of view, we can have it up and running within under 10 minutes. So it's so easy to install.
Because that's the other thing people are really not really concerned about, but it's like, oh, it's going to be hassle. That's the feeling, isn't it? You can feel like it's going to be difficult. I think probably for bigger organisations, as you say, the invoicing and all that kind of thing, and the email protection. If you just imagine if you got infected, what does that mean in the money that your business is losing? It doesn't.
Not just in money. You know what I've seen the other day? Reputational damage.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know this, but one of the stats I read last week said that if a business suffers a cyber attack, you know, the chances of selling the business when the buyer finds out can drop by up to 70%. I mean, that's just, you know, your whole life you've been working so hard building this business, you suffer an attack, and now you can't sell the business.
I wonder how that factors into people that are building a business in order to sell. You know, they've started it and they know it's a 5-year turnaround, and they've got investors. And they're answerable to the shareholders, and they haven't done the basics. They haven't protected the basics.
And Jill, here's the good news. The reverse is also true, because we've just had a client last year, a recruitment client, long-standing client for about 10 years, and he sold for a higher multiple. Do you know why? Because when his buyer came in to do due diligence on the company, they said it's one of the most secure, most well looked after IT systems that they've ever come across. So they were able to demand a higher multiple.
I like that. That's a good one. You just reminded me of someone I need to introduce you to. So I've made a little note for myself. I can introduce you to someone. I love it.
So there's a lot of good news. There's a lot of good news in what
absolutely.
I do. You know?
And this is the thing, when you start to have these deeper conversations with people, rather than the 1-minute pitch or the quick one-to-one, oh, I've got 20 minutes, let's have that.
Yeah.
When you have a longer conversation, you haven't got to rush off anywhere. It's like we're allowing ourselves the luxury of potentially an hour in this conversation. Then more, you get to know not only what you do, the doing of what you, but it's the being of what you are. So now from our conversation already, I physically see how passionate you are. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can see the energy, but also you can hear it in Francis' voice. If you're just listening to this, you know he's passionate about helping people and he wants to stop the pain. So you came into tech by accident rather than design, because your parents are creatives. You are a creative of your own volition. So you've taken up with the palettes and all you love your man cave, I assume, your kind of place where you go and create things. Can you see in your childhood where this passion for helping people, because not everybody holds that. Everybody goes, oh yeah, I want everyone to be happy, but do I have to do that? Do I have to help them? There's not a driving force behind them to do that. Can you see in your childhood where this kind of sprang from?
Yeah, I mean, you know what I think? I think is because I wanted to make money.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because when I was really young, you know, I mean, we lived in Durban. We had a lovely house. We had a swimming pool. So it's not like we struggled, but you know, it's not like we had loads of money. So it's not like I got loads of pocket money. So if ever I wanted to buy stuff, I had to make something and sell it.
Right.
Okay, so maybe it's a good question. I'm just trying to think of all the answers. So apart from, but always whenever I made something, I was thinking, okay, who can I sell it to? Who can I sell it to?
Yeah, who needs
You know,
this?
as a child, I was probably the first in South Africa who started pushing trolleys.
Right.
Because I just wanted to make money, so I was going to the shops, you know, over the weekends or even some afternoons, and I'll push trolleys for people. You know, I'll go in, say, would you like some help? You know, madam will say, yeah, of course. And remember, English is my second language, so I speak Afrikaans all the time, or back then. And I would push their trolleys for them, and they'll give me R1 or 50 cents or whatever, and that's how I made money. But then, as I got older, I would say probably 15, 16, 17, I started making speaker boxes. So, you know, William Hill?
Yeah.
Imagine the equivalent in South Africa. I made all the speakers and I fitted all this. I made the wooden boxes, the speaker boxes, and I had a wholesaler to buy the speakers from. And I fitted out all the William Hills in whole South Africa at the age of 17.
Oh, wow.
So
you truly have the entrepreneurial spirit, don't you? It's that mindset that makes you look at everything as an opportunity, and how can you make the money? That's fantastic.
Yeah, but you know, so coming back from, but helping people. I mean, then when I came to UK, I lost one bit I haven't told you about was I then went to, my parents wanted me to study, so I went to study. I'm going to rewind. When people say, what are your regrets? I don't have many, but there was one, if I could keep one. And that was when I was about 18. I did 2 years in the army as well. So when I was 17, my girlfriend's mother headed up one of the top insurance companies of the whole of Johannesburg, or Transvaal. And she said, Frans, I see you're very good with electronics and stuff, because I was into electronics by then. Could you make car alarms? I said, of course I can make car alarms. I'm seeing the random. So my parents said, no, you've got to go and study. So I was so gutted. I'll tell you. But anyway, so coming back to the question, we then, you know, so I always used to make stuff. You know, so I started making, what do you call it, hangers. I used to weld, you know, these hangers for the local, you know, the local where you go and sell stuff on a Saturday.
Yes, markets. I
used to, the market stalls, I used to make those hangers. I used to weld them, paint them, and then
you chip off the old block, aren't you, by the sounds of things?
Yeah, and he used to help me, you know, and he was brilliant because, and this is probably where the whole thing started from, you know. So on my mom's side, I was doing pottery and you name it, and wood carving, but on my dad's side, I did the physical stuff.
Yeah.
You know, welding. I built a grandfather clock with him once, you know, so it's all that stuff. So when he passed away, I had all these tools, but of course by then I was already in South Africa, so I couldn't take it here. So I just had to buy mine.
Yeah, I bet he's got some good ones as well that you'd look back on and go, oh, if only I had that one. Because it takes a lifetime to build up those kind of things, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
That's beautiful. It's just so lovely to be able to see what you've inherited from your parents. My mum was sewer. I didn't buy, or we didn't have to buy any clothes for me until I was 13, and she made everything from she knitted my jumpers, she made my coats, my hats.
Wow.
Everything, pajamas, everything you could possibly think of. It was never bought for me, and I hated it. I wanted to go to the shops like normal people do. Why can't I? You know, I didn't think to myself I can have it custom made. It was like I didn't feel like it was a needs must because we didn't have the money, so she had to make stuff. But so I never it skipped a generation. So I'm not seen as a creative because she taught me how to sew, so I know, but I don't enjoy it, and it isn't something that I'm very good at. But my kids now are getting into that vibe, and they're just very creative. And my mum was a great gardener as well, and I'm like, do I have to? So we moved, you know, whenever we've had big gardens, we've had somebody to come in and look after them for us. It's crazy, isn't it? So my dad, but he was into sport, so I guess I could pick that up from him. I do everything with a racket, and he taught me all of that. So, but it's not very useful. I'm very in awe of people that can be creative and create something that's, you know. My daughter went out and paid money, not a lot of money, but paid money for a coffee table that's made up of 2 pallets. And I'm like, you know, your father's got those in the warehouse.
Wow.
It looks, it's a very nice table. It's funny, isn't it? But now they would go and give a bash and make it and try it for themselves.
Yeah, I can't ever see myself paying for anything to do with a pallet. But
yeah,
I'd rather make it. My latest creation, my wife, I said, come on, what do you want me to make you? Because I've got this issue with, or this fetish, it was a fetish, probably wrong word, this obsession with making benches.
Okay.
Tables. I make a lot of benches. If you look at my garden, I've got about 15 benches all around the place.
Good job, you've got a big garden.
Yeah, but I've now made benches. So she orders these 20 by 20 lovely tiles from Earth. What's that company called? They do Fired Earth. So I've now made those lovely tables. Well, we're using Fired Earth. 4 of those, and now she wants me to do 1 with 6, but I think 4 is enough. And then this just gives it, so I'm starting to combine different materials now between wood and tiles and grout. And my next thing, a friend of mine showed me this, is to start using, what do you call that liquid that solidifies? There's a word for it. Anyway, it goes see-through. You mix it up.
All right.
And then you can sand it down, so you have this complete see-through effect.
Oh,
you take a tree stump and you, what's the name of this stuff? And you've got a groove, and then you sand it down. It's just that's my next challenge. How
do you get time to do this? You know, the cyber security. It sounds like you've got your hands full. Well, no wonder you're doing long hours. Try and find some time at weekends.
It's just weekends. That's it. Saturday and Sundays I don't work.
Good.
That's you know, I spend the time with the boys, or my daughter, my wife, on walks. But if I get half a chance, I'll sneak down to the shed and make something.
Brilliant. Yes, the man cave. I was thinking about your children then, and what you've taken from your parents and what you can give to your kids. So 2-part question. 1, what was the driver to leave South Africa when obviously you had a great relationship? I'm assuming you had a great relationship with your parents. What was the driver to leave and come over here? Was it difficult to choose to stay? I guess it's because you fell in love. But what would you teach your kids now? And what would you think if they were to say, Dad, we're going to go to Singapore and live and do something and earn our bucks? And we've only got £100 and a suitcase.
You know,
how would you feel?
I always say to people, don't ask me a question if you don't want to know the answer. I left. My biggest reason for leaving was, and it took me 2 weeks from the time I decided to the time I landed. And the only reason why I came to UK, because UK at the time was 4.5 rands to the pound.
Right.
And of course, I left Siemens. I did electronic engineering, and I worked for Siemens. So I had to pay back all my study debt. But Jill, I've got a real issue with people telling me what to do.
Right.
So my parents, he was very fair, but very, very strict. And so was my mom. And the moment I had a chance to leave, I left 5,000 miles away.
Wow.
You know, that's the real reason.
Yeah, no,
I
get it.
I just wanted to get away. I don't like to be told what to do. You
know, there's a term for that, don't you? It's pathological demand avoidance.
Jeez, I never heard that one.
Give it a Google.
Yeah, good.
If you had problems at school with your teachers telling you what to do, that might be part of it.
Yeah, if people could, again, it's funny that I love helping people. I can help. You asked me, and this is we spoke about earlier. I've got a real problem saying no. I know that, and I recognize that. But don't tell me. You can ask me anything. I'll make it happen. Don't tell me.
I like that. Yeah, but you know what? I think a lot of us have got that in us, haven't we? And I think a lot of people who are out to, make their mark on the world, to go, this is my legacy that I'm leaving, and I don't care, you can't tell me I can't do it, because this is what I'm going to do. We have that element of, authority doesn't quite work, because, well, who's you and whose army?
Yeah. and coming back to your part of your question there, now I'm having the same with my kids. They are exactly the same. They are so headstrong. I don't know where they're getting from. So my poor wife is struggling with this because, you know, we just can't understand when somebody doesn't understand that, you know, we don't mean to be domineering, but anything, this is the best way. You know,
my way or the highway.
Yeah, not necessarily highway, but just can't understand why you wouldn't want to do it my way. You know, just don't understand. You know, so I think the thing that I'm hopefully passing into them, and this is so what I've been doing is another thing that my mom always taught me from a very young age. She was a very positive person. You know, she still is. She's alive. I spoke to her only this morning, which is great. So she would say, Francis, not a problem, it's a challenge. And all my years in business, I've been telling this to my staff. I drive them nuts. They come to me with the problem. I said, problem? I don't see a problem. I see a challenge, maybe. I don't see a problem here. So I've been doing the same with the kids, number one. Number two, the other thing I've been doing, which is really paying dividends now, I mean, from a young age. I'm telling you, when I used to take them to school at, 5 or 6, I used to go, you know, Brian Tracy, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. I'm going to have a great day, I'm going to have a great day, I'm going to have a great day. And you know what I did? I tested it. And then the days when I didn't do it with them, and I'll go, how was your stay at school today? They go, oh, it was okay. And in mornings when I did do it with them, how was your day? Oh, it was amazing. We did blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, you know, this stuff works. So I've brainwashed them, sorry, but I've completely brainwashed all 3 of my kids. Yeah. And now, you know, or when they say, you know, you're making me feel this and you're making me feel that. I'm like, no, this is your choice, your choice, your choice. And now they're throwing at me when I say something. Yeah, Papa, but that's your choice. Your choice to feel the way you do. You know, so I'm getting the reverse.
Yeah, but it's brilliant because you kind of know they get it when they can see it in you. And it's like, well, we're all human. And now you know that your dad isn't human. So I'm sorry about that, but thank you for reminding me that it is my choice. And like I was saying to you earlier, we used to sit around the dinner table every night, and you know, and I feel sorry for people that don't. We used to have breakfast together. We'd go off and do our work, and we have dinner together in the evening when they lived at home, and it was conversation. It wasn't watching the telly or you know looking. It was conversation. And I used to get them in the habit of, so what did you learn at school today? So you kind of unpack what they did with this lesson and this lesson, this lesson.
Lovely.
And they hit about 12, 13. It's like, and what did you learn, Mum?
Yeah.
Okay. So you kind of, because you have to be learning, otherwise you're hitting a brick wall and you're not actually standing still, you're going slowly backwards if you're not learning. And I love it when your kids turn around and just not necessarily say your words back to you, but say stuff that is the way they're thinking is the way you want them to be thinking. And it almost feels like, yep, tick, job done that, you know, that was well done. Even when they're criticizing you, it's like, I love that, you know.
I agree. It just that means they're individual, and I love the fact that they question, but they have to question in a thoughtful way.
Exactly.
You know, where they really think, okay, I've considered this, but you know, problems having the 3 of them at home at the moment is like World War III a few times a day. You know, because they're all very challenging in their thought process, which is great. But then it means that anything that's asked of them, they come back, well, why should I do this? Because then you just want them to do it. But you know,
sometimes you just have to suck it up, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, otherwise your dad will go ballistic. That was the ultimate threat in our house. If it's like, you know, well, otherwise your mother will go ballistic.
No, exactly.
But the other thing that got me as well with our kids is I think I can remember 2 times ever that they argued with each other because they hung out and they got on really, really well. And on those 2 occasions, I just got them together very quietly and look, you're breaking my heart. I can't cope with this. Go upstairs, sort it out, come down, and let's carry on the way we normally do. And they would. They'd go upstairs, an hour later come down. Sorted? Yep, sorted. Done. And even the argument that I, as an adult, could have gone, you do this, stop being silly, off you go. I didn't command. I just kind of got them to go and sort it out for themselves. And I know that there were 2 times it happened and bloody good reasons to be upset with each other, you know. And I kind of went with one and then it was with the other. And so I knew, but I wasn't going to sort it out for them. This is when they were quite young. One was when they were at uni together and they came home for a holiday, and that's always about stretching and learning. And the other one was when they were about 14-ish, sort of 12, 14. But I can't be doing with people that can't talk to each other and can't listen.
Yeah.
And when people, you say something with the best intention and someone goes, really? That's ridiculous. Oh, for goodness sake. I thought, I can't, how am I supposed to process that?
Yeah.
How am I supposed to learn from you demeaning me and making me feel this big just to make you feel bigger because you think you're right and I'm wrong? What is right and wrong? Who's decided what's right and wrong?
Yeah.
In anything in this world, man-made, somebody's made a decision that this is right and that is wrong. Now, morally, who's to say what's moral? It's so many things. There is no right or wrong. Everything is a blank canvas to be rewritten, and it's for us to choose. And as you say, to teach your children about choice, choose your mood, choose your attitude, choose how you're going to listen, choose the words that you use. Choice is very, very powerful, and it's choose to respond and not to react.
Yeah.
One of my biggest things is when people go, oh, the red mist descended and I lost my temper. I couldn't help myself.
Yeah.
Rubbish, she said very politely. It's you choose every single time you choose. And what you've got in your life now is a direct result of the choices that you have made. So if you're overweight, it's the choices you've made. If you're too busy, it's the choices you've made. All these kind of things. And it's really great that what you have discovered for yourself, you are imparting to your kids, because you're empowering them to have the same entrepreneurial spirit that you've got. So imagine you times 3 out in the world.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. So the charity that you're going to put together, what image is that giving your kids? How wonderful is that for them to see what you want to do there? And I know it's only in the head stage at the moment, but if you get to 80 and you go, oh, I didn't get around to doing that.
Yeah, that's not an option. So for me, thoughts becomes things. So that's another one of my things I go through with the kids all the time. I say, you must be so careful what you think of, because the universe will make it a reality, good or bad.
Yeah.
Take a pick.
I heard somebody say the other day that there's too much stinking thinking going on. And she said that she's never had anyone in her life speak to her in such a bad, disgusting, abusive way as she has in the past spoken to herself. And it's the stinking thinking that goes on up here, like,
wow,
oh my God, my arms are too big, or my bum's too big, or my face isn't the right fit, or I wish my hair was this, or I wish I was a different whatever. It's so powerful what you think, and so detrimental to yourself, and then it spreads out. So I agree with you. It's, our thoughts are very powerful. God, I'd love to meet your kids. They sound brilliant.
Yeah, they're good fun. They're good fun.
How did you get on, out of curiosity, in lockdown with the old homeschooling?
I avoided it very cleverly. I tell you, we were lucky only because Gray, who's 11, he's just shame, and he missed all his final. What's the
Stats.
last year?
The SATs.
No, what's SATs?
Yeah.
Whatever you call it. Not the SATs. What's the last? What's that year? What's the last year of junior school called? I don't know. You don't know.
The last year of junior school. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's sixth form or something? Is it sixth form?
Oh no, that's junior school's when you're 11. So you're talking about year 11.
Yeah. So he missed it. But remember, it just
GCSEs.
No, GCSEs is older, isn't it? That's when he's like 16 or something.
All right.
So he's, because he's 11. The other two, I mean, my middle one he was in college, or he is in college. So he's kind of just finished already. When it's all almost finished.
Yeah. And
my daughter was still carrying on at uni, but just came back, just probably towards the end of March anyway. So it was just him, and it was just a few weeks. So really, we were lucky. There was very little homeschooling needed. But he's doing. My wife is quite good. He's doing all the papers anyway.
Yeah.
And we've got one of his top teacher. He's been coming around just every couple of weeks just to keep him
on his
toes. And yeah, but you know, unfortunately, one thing I said, they are spending an unbelievable amount of time either horizontal on their bum, which I've got a real issue with. But
Yeah.
you know, it's difficult time, so that's why I
Yeah.
get them out to make stuff.
There's one guy in our community called David Liddell, and he's a scout master, or I'm not sure what his title is in the scouts, but he kept posting things on Facebook of what he was doing with his children to keep them active. And oh my goodness, it looked, I said, I want you to be my dad. It was just, it looked like such fun. The camps they made, the places they went swimming, and even indoors, he had, what do you call it? Like a button bar Zoom thing from the top of the stairs down. Yeah? So his 3-year-old is like hanging on this string going down the stairs at 1,000,000 miles an hour and crashing at the bottom into a pile of cushions. And, so, you know, all this that he's just rigged up.
Was he on furlough though or not?
No, he's got his own company.
Oh, brilliant. That's
so it's just what he did. He's also, you know, he's the main carer, I think, for his kids as well. So it was like he was working from home and doing all of that. It was just incredible. And he knows the importance of like the great outdoors. Just
wonderful.
Phenomenal.
Oh, that's amazing to hear.
I love people like that because, you know, if you meet him at a networking event, you know, going back to the BNI days, if you meet him at networking, it's like, oh, I'm David and I'm a mortgage consultant. Oh, okay. Yeah. And in your head, you think, I know what you're like. You know, you're going to be suited and booted and but he's not. He is not at all, and he's a master NLP practitioner. Wow. So he understands the psychology of things and the psychology of his kids, and he's had a tough life and a tough time, but he doesn't feel sorry for himself. You know, and he keeps so fit. He runs and he does triathlons and Ironman, all sorts of things. And you could just imagine these 2 little tots. I think they're like 5 and 3.
Amazing.
How impactful he's going to be on them for the next generation. And I think part of what Collaboration Global for me is about us thinking about the next generation. And we've already ruined our planet with the consumerism and the waste and the plastic and all these other things. And it's like, well, what can we do now in order to support the next generation coming up? Because we can't leave it to them. It's not fair. No. It's almost like saying, and I've actually been in a meeting where there was an 82-year-old and an 18-year-old, and she apologised to him from across the room with about 150 people in the room. She apologised to the 18-year-old for the mess that we left the world in. Honestly, it was it was really good kind of moment. Because it's true, you know, we've done things selfishly, and without the realisation and the concept of what damage we were doing and are still doing. Do you know, in the Brazilian rainforest, quick fact for you that I found somewhere, there have been more trees cut down since they were told not to in the pandemic than have ever been cut down in any other period this time last year, the year before, the year before that, and the year before that. They know that it's a problem, but whilst their country is suffering and the rest of the world are not going over and supporting them, with people not having jobs to go to and being told to stay at home, that's the only way they're going to make money. So they're chopping down more and more. So it's like, well, we have to get together, collaborate to support these kind of people. That's on the massive scale, but on the individual scale, what you're doing with your kids is teaching them how to be independent, how to be free thinkers, how to understand how the mind works, how to care for your fellow man. You know, you're giving them a massive example around that, as is David and as is so many people, that we have to be the change we want to see. Yeah. It's a glib phrase, but it's so powerful. And I think that's what I love about the culture in the community. And people that kind of, well, I agree with that, but I don't know what I'm going to do about it. And we don't necessarily know what we're going to do. We can't put a finger on it. There is no right or wrong answer, remember. But coming together, the solutions start to come forward and start to percolate and come together. So I can tell you what, I'm so happy that you are part of this community, learning how you treat your children, learning where your passion comes from. And the fact that you have this beautiful entrepreneurial spirit means that we can call on you to go, this is a situation, and you'll probably go, bang, well, there's your answer. That's what you have to do, because you'll see it in a clear way, because you've lived off of your wits. And you're focused on, well, that will make money, that will help, that will be supportive. It's a challenge, but you can see a solution, rather than, oh no, it's a problem, what are we going to do? Which so many people have been conditioned into
They have, and that's sad. I think that's really sad. And I can't see it, but you would not believe it. I don't know about you, but I picked up something. You know, my head drops even negative characters in my typing. Have you ever seen that? I'm typing and I'm thinking can't, okay, because I've got to type the word can't. When I read back, it dropped the apostrophe T. It's gone. Then I've got to go back. I've several times this happened to, you know, when on what's it called? What's the thing we're all using? WhatsApp. I would type something and then somebody would reply, "You mean we can't do it?" Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, that's what I meant to type. Just drop.
I remember. I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
And the other funny thing is being bilingual is when I'm typing Afrikaans, I'm trying to type Afrikaans, my fingers would translate back to English.
Oh.
Just because of habit now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the Afrikaans word, but my fingers automatically transfers back into English. It's weird.
It is funny how our brain works, actually, and I don't think most people grasp how powerful it is. And by being aware, I did a little trick once when, I think it was Brian Tracy, was talking about positive and negative thinking, probably. But he said, count how many times you've got a negative thought. So I thought, okay, I'll do that. I'm going to walk to the station. At that point, we lived in a different house. It was 4 minutes away. And because I'm a positive person, I'm not negative at all. I'm a Pollyanna. Everyone says I'm too optimistic, which I don't see as a bad thing. Yeah. So I counted, and I'm thinking maybe in 4 minutes I'm going to have 2 thoughts that are negative. And I caught myself 27 times in 4 minutes, just walking along the road. Things like, oh, he was going a bit fast as a car went past, or, oh, don't like those curtains. Why does she leave the bin out? You know, it's just like your mind wanders freely, and it's like negative. And I'm like, oh my goodness. You have to police everything, and it sounds like you've now got your subconscious to police it for you. That you don't write the apostrophe T and the can't and the no, the don't.
Yeah, because this is my big issue with my job. When they come to me and they say, "Oh, I can't do this," my head just starts going mad. I don't understand. What do you mean you can't do it? I just don't understand it. I said, you know, because it's corny when you say, "Oh, take the T away," you know, blah blah. But I can't. But I can't see the can't. It's a real struggle. It doesn't compute. There's no, and I'm a zeros and one kind of person. I just can't. I can't see it. I can't see the can't.
Have you heard?
For me, it's like you said earlier. I just see an option. There's always an option.
There has to be. There has to be. In every discussion, I think Stephen Covey said it once, where there's always a win-win to be sought. He said on any subject, and he's done it with like audiences of 500 people on really controversial topics like abortion. It's like, let's find the win-win here. There's got to be a halfway that's going to keep everybody happy. And he finds it in amazing ways, or he used to before he died. But his son has now taken up the mantle, and I think he's amazing as well, Stephen Covey Jr. I was going to say something then. What was it?
I've got another story for you.
I'll go for it. Go on. I'll think about
Have you done any of the sessions with Brian? Not Brian Tracy. With his name is going to come to me in a second before I tell the story. Hopefully, I'll tell his story and we'll come to me. So, did you know that every single cell in your body is completely replaced every 2 years, apart from the little follicles hanging down in your heart, which are there from birth and they stay there?
Wow, that's a cool fact. I love that. Yeah.
Which means when I meet people and they go, "Oh, this happened in the past," I say, "Tell me how many years ago?" They say anything past 24 months. I said, "Listen, let me tell you. Do you want the good news?" And they go, "Yeah, tell me the good news." Well, that person is long gone. Sorry.
I love it.
That person is long gone. The only bit now is the neurons that you've kept onto. But the person itself has been replaced since the person that happened that to. Tony Robbins, that's him.
Oh, yes.
You know, and he tells a story, which I know makes me, one of the, I've been to a lot of these sessions, but one of the things, this lady stands up in the crowd and she was raped.
Oh.
And he spoke to her for about 15 minutes. And at one point he said this to her. I said, "You know, how long ago did this happen?" And she said, "About 3 years ago." He says, "Let me tell you something. That person that was raped doesn't exist anymore." And he then helped her, gave her some techniques to reverse the neurons
Yeah.
You know, about, and you should have seen the smile that came onto that lady's face when she realized
Yeah.
that the new body is not the one that was raped. Wasn't
It's
that, I mean,
amazing.
it's
I
just
love
what a
that.
gift. What a gift to
Yeah.
give somebody.
Yeah.
And this is my point. When I speak to people now, I mean, not as heavy, but I always say, wow, the good news is this is the new you. You can do whatever you like.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is, I'm never ceased to be amazed how many people carry around baggage with them.
Yeah.
And it's like this little scab that they want to pick and pick and pick and feel sorry for themselves and, oh no, poor me, poor me. And it's like, get over it. And I know that's a very blasé way. And I know it's not easy just like that. And we've all had issues and problems in the past that, you know, have caused us that pain.
Yeah.
But it is like, you've only got now. You know, Eckhart Tolle tells us that the power of now, you know, yesterday's finished and the future isn't been yet, and you've only got this minute now. So don't waste it on worrying about what's been and gone. It's
Well, I might disagree with you on that point, Jill. How's that? Do
sure,
you know why?
Yeah.
I would like you. I'm so into quantum physics. That's one thing you didn't know about me.
Oh.
Okay, so I am 100% of the belief, potentially, and I can prove it to you right now, is that the future already exists.
Oh, lovely. Okay, go on then. Prove it right now.
Okay, so but people can hear. I'm going to say it as if I'm telling the story, and people can't see what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
So I'll talk through the process. So, you know, if you put your hand in front of you and you can see your 4 fingers flat, and you can see the inside of your hand flat.
Yeah.
It means you can see between your fingers. Would you agree?
Yes, yes, yes.
So if I was to step up from the bottom and I put you know, imagine these are like a staircase. So if I go from the bottom pinky and I go to on the top of the pinky and I then go to the second finger like a staircase, eventually I get to the top. You can see that, you can visualize it, right? So now I'm going to turn my hand in such a way that you only see the back of my hand, but you can't see my fingers anymore.
Yeah.
Does that mean that it doesn't exist?
No.
So I'll rewind. So this is yesterday, this is today, this is tomorrow, this is next year, and this is 500 years from now. And the problem with us humans is because we can't see it, we think it's the future. But if you think about it, so my recommendation, if you've never watched this, please go and watch What the Bleep.
What the Bleep?
Oh, it's awesome.
I like that.
Love the stuff.
Is it along the lines of if a tree falls in a forest and there's no one there to hear it, does it still make a noise?
Well, the answer is definitely still makes a noise, but it's about whether, again, choice whether you hear the choice or not. But I'll give you one. I want to leave you. I know we're running out of time. And this is another subject altogether. But one of the things they cover and this is all about what we spoke about, positive thoughts, and I don't know if you've heard this one, but this is a fact. So one of the tests that they did in What the Bleep is they took 2 glasses of water, and the first glass, they spoke, they shouted at it and swore at it, and you know, had negative feelings towards the glass. And when they looked at the structure of the molecules under the microscope, it was as if an atom bomb went off. Then they took the same glass and they said, you know, they said beautiful things to it, and they had warm feelings towards it. And when they looked, they saw like a flowery shaped arrangement of the molecules.
Yeah.
Now, the learning for me there is, and this is where it crosses my 0 and 1 thought process, is that I can change your molecules within a second, Jill. Would you believe me or not?
I believe anything you tell me, Francis, but go on.
So what percentage of your body consists of water?
Oh, is it 70%?
86, I think, is the last
a
figure.
lot.
86. So, in other words, I can make you feel good or I can make you feel bad within 1 second. Do you want to have a go?
Go on then.
So, if I tell you somebody you really love, you know, this is purely for demonstration purpose, died, how would you feel instantly?
Instantly.
You'll feel terrible.
Devastated, yeah.
If your husband phones you up after this call we're making now, said, listen, Jill, we've just won 87 million on the lottery, how would you feel?
Oh yeah, pretty happy.
in what time frame?
Yeah, nanosecond, yeah.
You see, so the only thing that's really happened, both could be a lie, but the interesting thing is here, the only thing that's changed is the molecule structure in your body. Interesting, isn't it?
Fascinating.
And this is why, again, if we rewind to everything we said earlier, you must be so careful what you think of or listen to or accept that comes in your brain, because in a second, everything can change, good or bad. Your choice.
Your choice. Oh, what a place to end it on. That's fantastic. Who would have thought? We're talking to the tech guy, cybersecurity, we end up going quantum physics. That's what a conversation. It's fantastic. Yeah, me too.
So much to learn.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Francis. It's been absolute joy, absolutely lovely. If anybody wants to find out more about your wonderful cybersecurity, or just wants to have a chat with you and give you a shout, what's the easiest way for them to contact you?
The best way is either to email me, which is francis.w@westek.co.uk. I'll spell Westek as WESTTEK.co.uk, or phone me. I'll give you my mobile. It's probably always the fastest way to get through to me is +44 787 255 2555, and our cybersecurity website is security-everywhere.com.
Great. And probably if you're thinking that your company is in need of some security, probably the best thing is to give Francis a call, just he can go through the questions with you and find out if that's going to be something that's useful for you. We obviously have our monthly meetings at Collaboration Global. You can connect to those either through LinkedIn, on my posts, on my profile. We have a website, collaborationglobal.com, where you can also book on there. You can find us on Eventbrite, Meetup, and Facebook as well. So thank you again, Francis, for joining us today on Being Human, Hidden Depths, and you've certainly proven that you had hidden depths today. Thank you. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Thank you too. Bye.
Bye.